So if we take blockchain as a game changer, what's really interesting is that some of the mainstream companies are getting involved. You know, I've got the picture here of Kodak. You can also, I don't quite understand this one, to be honest, but you've got the Big Mac, the Big Mac coin, and even you've got Telegram, which recently has come out, and I've heard they're looking to raise as much as over $1 billion. And I don't know how true this is, David, but one of our board members tried to invest, and the minimum investment was $20 million, and he got declined because it was oversubscribed. Again, I don't know how much truth there is in that, but my point being is that why are these mainstream companies now getting involved, firstly in blockchain and secondly in the cryptocurrency sort of ICO space?
So I am a bit skeptical about, for example, Kodak coin, right? Kodak today is not even the company that has dominated the photography industry for 100 years, because that company went bankrupt. Kodak today is the new owner of the brand and the logo and probably the patents. It is totally a shame, because Kodak invented digital photography without truly believing in it. And it was killed by the exponential growth of digital photography on our phones and everywhere else, with performance that was more than enough for 90% of the people who stopped buying the cameras that were using Kodak films. Now, is it likely that they are going to truly believe in the power of blockchain and reorganize not only, a marketing operation around it, but reorganize their business model, how they relate to their various stakeholders? In my opinion, the likelihood of this happening is minimal. Now, we will have hopefully the opportunity of talking more about what it means to have a decentralized business model, what it means to truly adopt a blockchain strategy. Now, the second example that you are showing is, I don't know enough about it, especially as an investor. I look at the teams. The reason I invested in Wealth Migrate is because I know you guys, I know that you can execute. I know that your ideas are sound and that you have the ability to turn them into reality and change the world as a consequence. I don't know the Big Mac Coin team, and I don't want to pretend that I can judge what they are doing. It is hard for me to say that it is not something very, very stupid.
What about this one, though?
The third example that you gave is challenging, because Telegram is hugely successful. Telegram has the power to be decentralized. In some ways it already is, because the encryption communication that it enables does not depend on the knowledge of a centralized server that holds your encryption keys. So it can be confirmed that they get it, right? Now, do they need the $1 billion? No. They do not need the $1 billion. They are doing a $1 billion ICO because they can. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it will be something for the Telegram ICO investors to find out, in a year's time or in 2 years' time, when the Telegram token will be more or less valuable than they paid. My guess is that it will be worth less, and I hope to be wrong. And my guess is that the main thing that Telegram is going to do with the tokens is something not extremely, creative. And the main thing that they will do with the money they collect is to establish investment funds to enrich the Telegram ecosystem by giving money to developers to build for the Telegram platform. And that's fine. If you as an investor don't want to make the decisions, but you want to delegate those decisions to somebody else, right? So that is also okay. You know, we have our own investors as a venture firm, and they delegate the decisions to us. Nothing wrong with that. And the question whether this is all good or less so is how clearly this is articulated in the Telegram white paper, which is today's equivalent to what used to be the business plan. And it is a very transparent document that anybody purchasing tokens should use to hold the team accountable for what they promised, because they have to execute on that promise as they implement the white paper's roadmap.
Last question quickly before I move on, and it's to do with big business, is that a lot of the banks have really, in the last 2 years, they've really sort of embraced blockchain. They realized the immense potential that it can bring to banking. Are you aware of anything that's of relevance for people to know within the banking sector? Because it's interesting. It's sort of the Kodaks of the world are trying to employ the new technology.
So if you are aware of banks that really genuinely embrace blockchain and Bitcoin, absolutely let me know, because I am not really. In the sense that they always talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. There are all these consortia of banks that actually confuse people by talking about private blockchains as if private blockchains were necessary, because they don't know what is good and what is bad and what is right and what is wrong. And the public blockchain is this dangerous, wild world that you shouldn't really trust. You should trust them, because they are the ones telling you what should be done. So I don't think that is a healthy way of going about things, and I really so I am expecting that there will be an explosion of new things we may call banks, and I expect these to come out of both the blockchain world as well as in those areas of the world where, through actually regulation, financial institutions are forced to become a platform that you can build applications on top of. And one of these areas of the world, surprisingly, is Europe, where this year a new regulation comes into force that requires banks actually to become application platforms that anybody can leverage to build exciting new ways of serving their customers.
Wow.
David, someone just put in a question here, EJ, saying, what about Ripple? Is this not something banks have embraced? Do you have any comments on that?
So Ripple itself was born of an original project that split, and then they are going about doing a very good execution of engineering tasks, of working together with banking institutions and letting them upgrade their technological platforms that are absolutely antiquated. The SWIFT transfer system that requires people to take over a transaction and then type it into another terminal is incredibly primitive, to the point that the Bangladesh Central Bank was running the risk of losing an incredible amount of money because somebody has been able to hack this old-fashioned system. So from that point of view, Ripple is good. From the point of view of people who, like me, believe in the power of decentralization and of the public blockchains, Ripple is pretty much meaningless because it is not running on a public blockchain. The mania around the exchange rate between Ripple and the US dollar that increased Ripple's network value is, in my opinion, unjustified because Ripple controls their ability to issue more Ripple. The founders of Ripple own an excessive percentage of Ripple, and the whole thing is not coherent with the spirit that should be driving new applications of blockchain.
So guys, if we look at these exponential technologies, you know, and